There is a type of prison that has no bars, no locks, no guards, and for that very reason it is the most dangerous of all. It is a silent, comfortable, overly welcoming prison. Many enter it smiling, embraced by the feeling of rest, but leave when they manage to leave with a worn-out soul, a dormant purpose, and amputated dreams. This prison has a simple name, but a devastating power, comfort, and perhaps you haven't realized it, but it may be shaping your life more than your intentions, your prayers, and your plans. It all starts subtly, a small habit put off, an uncomfortable decision you avoid, an opportunity that requires courage but seems daunting, so you say, I'll try tomorrow. And tomorrow becomes the day after tomorrow. And then it becomes when I have more time, and time never magically organizes itself. Comfort is a brilliant seducer. It promises rest but delivers stagnation. It promises peace but delivers purposeless routine. It promises security but steals your vision of the future. It's exactly as Robert Kiyosaki describes in one of his most powerful quotes. Most people don't realize that it's not their salary that controls them, but fear, and fear always pushes human beings toward comfort. Fear always says, don't risk it, don't try, it won't work, stay here where it's safe. But what's safe is often the most dangerous. If you observe the lives of the people you admire most, whether in ministry, faith, history, or business, they all had a breaking point. A moment when the discomfort seemed too great, the risk too enormous, the step too long. But it was precisely at that point that they decided to cross the threshold of comfort. That's where life truly began. And here comes a profound, perhaps uncomfortable, but necessary question. Who would you be today if you hadn't sought the easy path so many times? The easy life comes at a high price. It charges interest, compound interest, not the kind of interest that makes you rich, as taught in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but the kind of interest that impoverishes the soul, the spirit, and the purpose. Kiyosaki explains that the big difference between the rich dad and the poor dad wasn't money, but mindset. One would say, I can't. The other would say, how can I? One would say, that's too risky. The other would say, what lessons does this risk teach me? This is the question that separates those who grow from those who merely survive. But there's something even deeper. A comfortable life not only prevents you from growing, it convinces you that you don't need to grow. It takes away your restlessness. It weakens your indignation. It lulls your spirit, saying, you've done enough. And you believe it. You settle. You accept a life smaller than the one God dreamed for you. It's as if the voice of comfort is a modernized version of that ancient serpent, saying, you don't need that much. Don't overdo it. Don't go so far. Stay where you are. Meanwhile, your true potential is trapped inside, pounding against the walls, begging for air, begging for space, begging for life, and maybe you're feeling that now. Maybe you're at a point in your life where you know you could be further along. You know you could have built more. You know you could have studied more, tried harder, invested more in yourself, risked more for your purpose. But comfort was always more convincing. It offered distractions, shortcuts, justifications, plausible excuses. And you accepted it, not out of weakness, but out of habit. Because the human mind gets used to what's easy, it's automatic, it's numbing. But what's easy doesn't transform anyone. That's why Jesus never called anyone to a comfortable path. He called them to the narrow one, to the difficult path, to the path that demands renunciation, courage, boldness, perseverance. And perhaps you've never connected this, but the narrow path is the exact opposite of a comfortable life. Because a comfortable life is wide, spacious, tempting. Everyone fits into it, but it is in the tightness that strength is built. It is in discomfort that faith is tested. It is in discomfort that vision expands. It is in risk that true life begins. And here's a crucial point. There's a specific moment in each person's journey when they realize they're stuck. And this moment usually arrives without warning. Sometimes it comes as frustration, sometimes as profound exhaustion, sometimes as that strange feeling that you're living repetitive days, as if you're always on autopilot. Others call this a crisis. But the truth is, it's not a crisis, it's a calling. It's a divine summons to leave the realm of comfort and enter the realm of purpose. But purpose isn't comfortable. It never has been. It never will be. It demands action. It demands initiative. It demands decision-making. It demands a stance. And perhaps that's why so few fully live what they could live. They want the result of discomfort without experiencing the discomfort itself. They want the harvest without planting. They want the next level without leaving the current level. They want maturity without abandoning emotional childhood. They want to grow without breaking free. And this is where the hardest part of this reflection comes in. Perhaps you need to hear this. Comfort is costing you dearly. It's costing you opportunities, relationships, projects, growth, expansion. It's costing you years, literally years, because every year you live within the pattern that comfort establishes is a year doubled in stagnation. And while you remain where you are, other people with less ability, less talent, less preparation are advancing. Do you know why? Because they decided to pay the price of discomfort. And here I want to ask you a question that can completely change your course from today onwards. What discomfort have you been avoiding, but know you need to face? It could be the decision to change fields. It could be taking on a ministry. It could be saying what you've kept inside for years. It could be confronting a financial fear. It could be starting to study something you've always found difficult. It could be breaking a toxic cycle. It could be saying yes. It could be saying no. It could be asking for help, or it could be stopping asking and finally acting. There comes a point when God no longer asks you if you want to grow. He calls you to grow. He pulls you out of your comfort zone in the most unexpected ways, changing circumstances, moving people, closing doors you insisted on keeping open, opening others you didn't feel worthy to open. And all this to remind you that you were created to move, created to evolve, created to multiply, not to stagnate. And now you need to decide, not tomorrow, not next week, not when everything aligns, now, because the tomorrow you expect never comes. Only today exists, only now is real, only the present is transformable, and there's a whole universe of possibilities waiting for you to take a step. Not a leap, one step. Comfort will scream. Fear will try to convince you to stay, but you know that staying is no longer an option. Because staying hurts more than trying. Staying hurts more than risking. Staying diminishes you, leaving expands you. And when you break through, and you will break through, something extraordinary happens. You discover that the discomfort wasn't the enemy, it was the path, it was the bridge. It was the necessary process to take you to the place you always knew, deep down, you belonged. And it's at that moment that everything changes. The world doesn't change. The circumstances don't change, you change. And when you change, nothing in the world remains the same. Now, before we wrap up, let me ask you something important. If this message resonated with you, if it touched a nerve you've been avoiding, please comment below what the Spirit reminded you of while reading this. Subscribe to the channel, because I'll continue bringing you content that will take you out of your spiritual, emotional, and mental comfort zone and put you on the path to your purpose. And leave a like, because that tells YouTube that this message needs to reach more people who, like you, were about to get lost in their comfort zone. Not anymore.